Charlie smiled indifferently and said, "Well, don't be too nervous in front of me, just say something straightforward." Nanako nodded lightly and said, I just wanted to meet you, because I am worried that after the game I won't have a chance to see you again, Master Wade." Charlie asked curiously, "What? Going back to Japan after the game?" "That's right." Nanako didn't dare to look into his eyes, and whispered, "My father has already arranged the plane. I will go back immediately after the game." Charlie wondered, "You are in the finals anyway, even if you lose, you are the runner-up in the competition. Don't you even plan to participate in the award ceremony?" Nanako smiled bitterly. "As the #1 seed in the competition, I won't get the gold medal. I don't have the face to stay for the runner-up award ceremony." Charlie smiled slightly and said, "Practicing martial arts is not to win, because the birth of martial arts itself is not to fight against people, but to fight against yourself." "Fighting with oneself?" Nanako asked blankly. "Master, what do you mean to fight with oneself?" Charlie smiled calmly. "Ms. Ito, the ancestors of our Chinese people may be different from the ancestors of any country or nation in this world. Our ancestors never liked bullying or aggression. Since ancient times, our ancestors in China have stayed firmly in the country and tried best not to be invaded by foreign enemies, but even in the most prosperous period when the nations came to Korea, we have never invaded any country, including yours. The ancestors of China always think about how to be good at ourselves. Even if we are fighting, we will only fight against ourselves yesterday, and against ourselves now. Fighting with ourselves is to be able to surpass the present and past ourselves. We fight with ourselves in medical skills to live longer, and we fight with ourselves in farming techniques to feed more people. We fighting with ourselves in the martial arts, in order to make ourselves stronger." Having said that, Charlie looked at Nanako and asked her, "If you are no longer allowed to participate in any competitions from now on, will you give up a promotion or even martial arts?" Nanako blurted out, "Of course not. Even if I no longer participate in any competitions, I will not give up martial arts." Charlie smiled and said, "That's it. You love martial arts, not martial arts to defeat others. So, what matters is whether you win or not. Even if you lose the game, you can't get any medals. What's so important? As long as you are worthy of the love of martial arts in your heart, it is enough." Nanako bowed to him slightly and said sincerely, "Thank you, Master Wade, Nanako understands." Charlie said, "For tomorrow's game, work hard, don't care too much about success or failure, just show your best side." Nanako nodded earnestly. "Master Wade can rest assured, I will definitely go all out." After speaking, she remembered Charlie's distressed eyes when she was in the Final Four, and she was filled with happiness and asked, "Master, did I perform well in the last game?" Charlie heard her talk about the last match, and when he thought of the scene of her being repeatedly hit by the opponent in the arena and constantly injured, he still felt a little distressed in his heart. So he said seriously, "I think you performed very well in the last game. I don't quite understand why you let the opponent attack you repeatedly. In fact, your strength is higher than that of the opponent. If you fight back resolutely, then it is very likely that you will not be injured, but you have to keep giving the opponent opportunities." "Why is this?" Nanako said shyly, "Actually, I was mainly thinking that the best way to win, so I let the opponent attack me in the early stage, just to find the opponent's flaws." Charlie couldn't help being surprised. "Well, if you win the game, why do you have to use one move to control the enemy?" In Charlie's view, Nanako's one move to control the enemy was very different from Aoshui's one move to control the enemy. Because Aoshui's overall strength has now greatly increased and she has one move to control the enemy, it is not a big problem for her to do it, and it can even be said to be easy. However, although Nanako's strength is stronger than her opponent Michelle, she is not strong enough to defeat the opponent with one move, so she is tantamount to asking herself a very difficult problem. If it were not for insisting on taking the hardest path, she would not have been hit by the opponent several times in the game. Nanako was even more embarrassed at this time. She said very seriously, I mainly hope that Master Wade can treat me, will admire me." Charlie couldn't help being stunned when he heard this. Was it for him? Is this girl too stupid? In order to impress him first, stand on the ring and let your opponents continue to punch? What if the opponent gets you accidentally injured and you are severely injured? Thinking of this, he couldn't help asking, just to impress me and put yourself in such a dangerous situation, do you think it's worth it? It's worth it. Nanako resolutely and sincerely said. At a certain moment, I saw Master Wade's eyes on the ring. Don't know if I would be wrong, but when I saw your eyes, I felt that everything was worth it in an instant. Charlie didn't know what kind of look he had left for Nanako at that time. After all, he didn't have a mirror at the time to see what his eyes looked like. But he remembered his mood at the time. At that time, seeing her constantly being beaten by opponents, he really felt distressed in his heart. So, thinking about it, what Nanako saw at the time should be his distressed look, right? Thinking of this, he also felt a little embarrassed, sighed and said seriously, don't be so stupid in the future. You can go all out in the game, but don't put yourself in a dangerous situation for the sake of an extra bit of obsession.